When you come to Ecstatic Awakening, everything changes.
The Ecstatic Awakening Retreat for me was mind-blowing.
Unlike any other experience that I've ever had before.
It was literally the best investment of my life. I have not been able to participate in something more aligned, more incredible, and just full of breakthroughs than this week.
Ecstatic Awakening is the most incredible 10 days you can possibly imagine. It's the most, there's no words to describe it. No words.
If you want to connect with badass superhero Avengers like Marvel characters, this is the place to be.
Bringing such activated people into such a deep container to activate each other even further has been unbelievably life-changing for everyone involved. It's formed friendships that will last lifetimes. It's just so beautiful to be in a container with such amazing people that are actively doing incredible work in the world and getting to charge up and nourish and be in a place where we can just really fill each other's cups up, and at the end of the experience we've all just been blasted open and come out of that experience with so much more to give to the world.
I'm so grateful for every single person who's been a part of this experience. This is one of the best things you can do for yourself, and it's one of the best things I've done for me.
As this experience wraps up, there's a felt sense of this isn't the end. And so when we part ways from all this incredible power, the coherence that we felt, it's not the end, it's the beginning of a new up-leveling within ourselves, in our alignment, in our heart, in our own coherence.
I feel like I had an idea of what I was coming into, and everything exceeded my expectations. Like, every single thing that happened here blew my mind.
It was part celebration, part graduation, part like mastermind, part heal your body and soul, part expand your heart to limits that you did not know you previously had capacity and access to.
In certain moments you're like, why are we doing this? What's happening? And then at the end you fully understand, like, whoa, that was exactly what I needed.
A cellular expansion, the memory of the symphony of beats carried by the jungle breeze, just filling me with ecstasy.
I have been at over 200 events all over the world, spoken at over 100, and this is truly one of the most high-level, well-facilitated, immaculately created down to the last single detail.
Just the depth of presence and reverence that Ronja and Gabriel and all the facilitators put into this experience.
I also just want to say that it's transformational, but it's also like the funnest party of your life for your soul. So it's like a combination of just like, yes, I'm doing deep soul work, and at the same time having the best time of my life. Just for anyone who's like, well, what's gonna happen down there, or wherever it is in the world, it is like the funnest thing you could ever do. Never had so much fun with all the people that I've been with.
Hello, epic humans. I am very excited about what we're going to talk about today. And I say we because there is the me that is the transmission of what is coming through, and there is the you, the listener, the receiver, the asker, the pulling out of me, or of all of this. And the inspiration for the transmission for today has come from a lot of questions that have come in about the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat and what exactly is it exactly. Because you might have seen a bunch of videos from previous retreats, you might have seen testimonial videos from participants who are sharing about their experience, and the consistent feedback that we have been getting over the last now 8 retreats, with the 9th coming up in Spain in less than 4 weeks, is that people are sharing that it's always along the same theme. It's always some version of, this was the most epic experience of my entire life. This was the most impactful, transformative experience of my entire life. This was the best investment of my entire life. We had one guy in the last retreat in Costa Rica, Valentine, who's an amazing creator. He's the founder of Impact Angel. He shared that apart from becoming a father, coming to the retreat and the experience that he had there was the most powerful experience of his entire life. People share that when you come to this retreat, everything changes, nothing will ever be the same again, you cannot unsee. And so there's all these kind of sounds almost too good to be true statements about what this retreat is. It's like the most epic, crazy, world, limitless experience ever. And then you're like, yeah, I don't know about that. It sounds a bit too good to be true. And like, what is it exactly? Because some people are like, oh, you're having a festival. And I'm like, nope, it's not a festival. And some people are like, oh, it's a dance retreat. I'm like, no, it's not a dance retreat. Some people are like, oh, it's a business thing. And I'm like, yeah, but no, it's not it doesn't capture, it's not, And so people are like, well, what is this thing? And a lot of people don't have to know. It's just like, okay, I don't know what it is, but I feel the yes, and I'm just trusting the yes, and I'm going for it, and this is for me, and I don't know why, but I have to be there. Like, people are doing those things, and evidently because of the hundreds and hundreds of people who have come to the retreats and people who keep on coming back. However, there are also these very, very valid questions about like what exactly happens at the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat. And not so much perhaps happens in terms of like, what do you do on day one? What do you do on day 2? What happens on day 9? Like, what's the program and the schedule? Because that would be like asking before you watch a movie what happens in every scene of the movie. And if you know that you're going to a great movie, most likely you're like, don't tell me anything, I want to just experience it. Like a few days ago, Gabriel and I went to see Jurassic World Dominion, the latest and the sixth film in the Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World like double trilogy. And we had seen the trailer before, but then we're like, oh, we don't want to know anything, and like no spoilers, and so we're not going to say this is what happens on day 6. Also because we don't know ahead of time, because there is a map, there is a genius to the design of the program, but there is also the emergent magic and the unfolding of the moment. And so there's the plan, but there's the divergent, how do you say this? Diverting from the plan when the moment calls for something else. And so in that sense, we don't know, like we couldn't even tell you. Or we could, but we're not gonna. So, not so much what happens at the retreat in terms of like, what's workshop number 17 and those kind of things, but more about like what actually happens, like what are the results. And I also want to speak to this because as much as we can trust our internal guidance and just know that when you feel the yes, you feel the yes and you're just going for it. It's like those of you who have been in either my world, our world, or similar worlds or ways of living, where it's like you trust that when you feel that expansion and you feel that pull towards something, then that is life, that is like, hey, come this way, that it's like there is an expansion, there is something that pulls you, there is something that calls you, and you don't know why, the mind doesn't know why, but your quantum self, your higher self, the part of you that can perceive other dimensions, different timelines, already knows and is calling you that way. And so there is that, and then there's also the very human part of us that's like, if I'm gonna invest thousands of dollars or thousands of euros and 10 days of my life into a thing, it better be worth it. And I have a bit of the same thing where it's like, if something feels missable, I'm not gonna do it, because I would rather meditate or watch a movie or work out or be alone or something else. So it's like, if it feels like, oh, I don't know, like, you know, then it's a no. And so if it's missable, basically I'm gonna miss it, I'm not gonna be there, it's not gonna be worth my time. And so there is the human part of us that is like, is it gonna be worth my time? Is it gonna be worth my investment of time, of money, whatever currency that feels the most valuable, time, money, resources, attention? Is it gonna be worth my time? Is it going to be worth it? The short answer is yes, times 1,000. But there's more nuances to this, and so I want to share, because I was like, what happens? It's a full life upgrade into everything you came here to live in this lifetime on this planet. End of video, goodbye. But that could be the short answer. But I actually wrote down a few notes, because I was like, well, what actually happens? Because it's something that is so internalized, and we've done so many times now, and new things happen every time, and it keeps on blowing me away. When I'm like, how does this even, like, I had a moment in the last retreat in Costa Rica where I was sitting in the restaurant in the evening, looking out across the dinner tables, and these 50 people who are just all connecting and laughing and just having these and I'm like, all of these people are here because they felt something, they trusted it, they came, and now as a result of this, things are just happening. Like, we've had 8 or 9 couples that started in the retreat. So far, 1 baby, that the baby wasn't made in the retreat, but these 2 people met in the retreat, and now they have a daughter. And so things just happen, business collaborations, friendships, and so on. And I had a moment when we were in Costa Rica where I was looking out across the tables, and it was a moment when I had been sitting with some people eating and I am going to get to the point of what actually happens in the retreat, but for some reason this is coming through, so I will share this also before I go into that. I've been sitting eating with some people at the retreat, and then one person went to the bathroom, somebody went to take a phone call, somebody else went to get more food, so I was alone for just a moment. And I was sitting there looking out over the tables and looking at all these people, and it just hit me, like I just received the blessing of my own creation, in that I'm like, this is actually happening right now. And I started crying, and the tears were just streaming down my face, and I just started crying, and there was the sense of that I was receiving the beauty of my own creation. Because if you've had this experience in your own life where you write something, or you write a song, or you create something, or something comes through you, it's very difficult to take ownership, because it feels like you're the vessel, not the source. It's like something is coming through and you just have to show up and surrender to the process, which has been the experience with the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat. I feel like I didn't do it. It's like it came to me and I allowed it to come through. Every single practice that we're doing is a download, or it's a synthesis of something I've received, but it's like there is a receiving and an allowing for it to come through. And so there's, I think up until this moment in Costa Rica, there's been no part of me that's like, yes, I did this. It's not, and I think that's probably good, because it's keeps the humility in check, but it's like, it can almost flip to the other side where I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything, it's just coming through me. And something just hit in that moment when I'm like, I actually realized that I'm living the full actualization of a dream and a vision that I had, and then it's not a vision, it's not an idea in the mind anymore, but it's happening. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but I basically just sat there, started crying, and then Jonathan and Kenna and Gabriel and some more people came, and they're like, what is happening? There's water coming out of your eyes. And I'm like, I just realized the beauty of this whole experience, and that I created this. And it's hard to speak into words, because again, like, I don't want to take ownership of anything, but it's just like I just received the blessing of my own creation, and it's beautiful, and it allowed me to receive it in a deeper way. And ATYYA, who played Ecstatic Awakening in Costa Rica and is going to play in Spain again, who headlined Envision, he said a really beautiful thing in that moment when he was like, it's really beautiful to be proud of yourself, because pride, not pride in the negative, like too proud to say I'm sorry, or not that kind of pride, but like proud in a healthy way, is an expression of the extent of love. Like when you feel I'm proud of I created this, that's an expression of the love that you feel for your human, for yourself. And he was saying that for him, for example, in relation to his wife, He's like, when I'm proud of her, that's an extension of my love for her. And where I would stop being proud of her is where the love stops. And so I just felt that was a really, really beautiful expression of it. Another example of this would be like, you're out with your partner says something, you're like, oh, don't say that. And you're not proud of them in that moment. That's where your love stops in that moment. And on the flip side, it's like, anyway, being proud of yourself or your partner or a loved one is one of many, many expressions of love. So that was a powerful reframe for me. Okay, so getting to the main part of this. What happens in the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat and what are the results? Caveat, all results are different, but there tend to be some common denominators around what the theme of what happens in the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat. And so the way I would like to begin to speak to this is that in this moment, you can feel into the intuition of everything that you can be. Do you feel this? The intuition of everything that you can be. This is like a hint, like an intuition, like a something that feels like a future hint of your full potentiality. You in your fully actualized self. You as your fully embodied, actualized quantum self in a human body, living life. Everything that you can be, your full potentiality. And you might feel this as a future version of you. You might feel this as a you that is 5 or 10 years into the future, maybe after you've done a number of more breathworks or plant medicine ceremonies or traveled the world or meditated in darkness or done the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat or done coaching upgrade or NLP or whatever the thing is that you imagine that is like between what you are now and you're fully actualized. Which is almost silly because I don't know if there is any it to arrive to in terms of an upper limit or like, this is it now, I'm complete. But you can have the sense of that there is like the full potentiality of you, everything that you can be. You can call it a future self, you can call it your quantum self, which is you in this moment, but in the field of potentiality as opposed to something that you're living every minute of every day. Because most likely, you're having the sense of everything that you can be, and most likely you're having moments when that is coming through you in a bigger way or in a more transparent way where you're more transparent to this greater flow of your quantum self. And then there is the you that you are living in your day-to-day life as your personally asserted self in your day-to-day reality, your personally asserted self in your day-to-day reality. And so this is the you that can feel insecure, that can feel overwhelmed, that doesn't know what to do, that's like, there's the you that has the idea for the inspiration, there's the you that is like, I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna create an online course, I'm gonna create this piece of music, I'm gonna create a retreat, I'm gonna invent this, I'm going to create an app, a platform, an NFT, whatever the thing is. And so there's the pure inspiration, which comes more from the transparency of your quantum self. And then there's the you, but that's like, where do I even start? How do I, but what if I launch and literally nobody buys it? What if I create this book and everybody hates it? Like, there's the you that is like, so there's the pure inspiration, and then there's the but I can't. And the difference between following the pure inspiration and the but I can't is the difference between a life which by the end of it, you come to the end of your life and you're like, this is more amazing. Like, I can't even, like, I knew it was going to be amazing and adventurous, but like, I had no idea that it could get this good. Looking back, it's like weeping in gratitude from just the sheer everything that has come through you and everything you've created, everyone you've met, the feeling of a life so fully lived that you're like, I'm ready to transcend into the next dimension because this was amazing and I could ask for nothing more. I'm so grateful. This lifetime, everything and more. That is the potentiality, and probably more things that I can't even put into words, that is possible for this lifetime. And then there is the you coming to the end of your life, looking back at your life and feeling like, there's so many things I wanted to do. There's so many things I planned to do. There's so many things I wanted to create. There's so many things I didn't dare to, but I didn't do it. I wanted to, I planned to, I wished for it, I did it, but just like too many insecurities, too many, I just couldn't. And basically coming to the end of your life. And it's funny because the proverbial end of our life is something that it's like we imagine it being this, beautiful deathbed moment of all our loved ones gathered around and it's all planned and it's all, but and we don't know. But for this moment, if we allow ourselves to imagine the end of our life is 150 years into the future, after a lot of quantum meditations and stem cell therapy and upgrades and we're coming to the end of our lives, but there can be this either the fully lived, what an adventure, I'm so grateful kind of experience, or the fuck, I didn't do it. So ultimately a life half lived. And there's a quote that I'm probably going to butcher completely, that is, I'll have to overlay it here on the video, just who it's by, because I don't remember, but it's a quote that Wayne Dyer used to quote a lot, that, and I'm paraphrasing, but something that's a quote from a book that is, I think it might be Moby Dick. Anyway, I'll put it up here so that it's correctly attributed, but it goes something like this, that in the heart of every man there lies one insular Tahiti, surrounded by all the fears and the horrors of the half-lived life. And that one insular Tahiti is that fully lived, fully given, fully expressed experienced life, surrounded by all the fears and horrors of a life half-lived. And so what I have been seeing in people and in myself and in humans everywhere is this tug between us and us, between the we, the you, the I, the me, that is this, I have this desire, I want to create this, I want to experience this, I want to give birth to this, I want to, or not even just in the external of what I want to create, but I feel like I am meant for greatness. I feel like I'm meant to experience the deepest inner peace. I feel like I'm meant for expanded awareness. I feel like I'm meant for this. And then there is the, oh, but I can't, or the overwhelm, or the can't that is that clench fist around that pure inspiration, is that difference between the life fully lived or the half-lived life. And the pain of coming to the end of our life being like, holy shit, I didn't do it. And so this is where the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat comes in. What the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat brings with it is a relocation of the identity of self. It's a relocation of the experience of life. It moves from a feeling of being localized as a personally asserted self, as a limited human, small being with fears, with doubts, with insecurities, with all the I can'ts, into an experience of awareness with no edges. Into an experience of a malleability of consciousness, an experience of being able to move your awareness through different layers of reality, where it's not so much this is me, as a person having a human experience, but an experience of consciousness, an experience of awareness, and somewhere in there there is a human having experiences. And it doesn't mean being detached from the human experience, it means experiencing the human experience with so much more space, because we're not identified only with the body, with the human anymore. And from that spaciousness, so many things, there's so many side effects of this. One thing is a whole new experience of life, a whole new experience of life as space, of life as awareness, life as consciousness, life as energy, as vibration, as more than just a physical solid reality, as quantum flow. Another expression of this is the access to much more information, much more data, much more intelligence flowing through, that you're not limited to the thinking mind and whatever it can come up based on the data it has, but you're receiving access to a deeper intelligence that can flow through you. And one side effect of this is receiving downloads, ideas, inspiration, and creating at warp speed. Accessing flow state is another expression of this. So for everyone who is an entrepreneur, as a business owner, this is very, very, very interesting for us, because the creations that come through from this place not only blow other people away, but we're like, where the F did that even come from? The Ecstatic Awakening Retreat itself is one expression of this, which is why it's so hard to take ownership and say like, I did this or I created this. It's more like it came through me. The Ecstatic Awakening Retreat is much bigger than me. It's much bigger than any one person. It's a whole, it's like a living organism. There's an intelligence in it. Like it blows me away that every single time we have a retreat, we pump the expectations super high, and we're like, this is gonna be the most epic experience of your entire life. And on the website is like all these super, you know, what do you call this, superlatives, or these words that are like the most epic thing ever. And then every single time we have the retreat, the actual experience way surpasses the expectations. Like there is no words to describe what actually happens in these retreats. And if you watch some of the testimonials, we have some new ones coming out, either depending on when this video gets posted, either they're already out or they're coming out very soon, but testimonials from people in Costa Rica, and they're from the last retreat that we had last year, and they're like, there's no words. You can't describe this. Which is not very helpful when you were like, what exactly is it? But so there is something very, very deep happening here that I can't quite put into words. It's beyond like, oh, it's a 9-day retreat, and it's maybe one day I'll be able to put this into words, and then I'll speak to this more. I want to touch more into the malleability of consciousness. So I feel like the way most people walk through life is like, you have access to like, this is the physical reality, this is how I experience life, this is how I experience my body, this is how I experience myself, the world, sex, relationships, everything. And then there is this whole other, or so many other octaves of reality that most people never have access to. These are things that people touch typically in ayahuasca ceremonies, in plant medicine, in psychedelics, MDMA, LSD, etc. This retreat is completely substance-free. Like the strongest thing we have is green tea, yerba mate, coffee in the morning, some chocolate here and there. It's a substance-free retreat because you are the entheogen. Your breath is the drug, so to speak, with no side effects. It's simply through the exploration of consciousness, meditation, breath, body alchemy, workout shreds, expanded states of awareness, guided experiences, you begin to unlock and get access to all these things that for most people we have to ingest like a plant or a psychedelic or something to get to this, or to meditate for 30 years and I'm not saying like you can, in 9 days, you'll get as much as if you meditate for 30. Like, I don't want to negate, you know, the deep practice of meditating for 30, 40 years. And they can go together, because most of the people who come to these retreats have a solid meditation practice, and we just go deeper in the retreat. And so the malleability of consciousness, the malleability of awareness, playing with different layers of reality, time bending, creating at warp speed. And so I already mentioned the kind of like deathbed scenario, which is a bit dramatic maybe, but it's kind of true, because that's just part of life, is that, you know, happening for all of us in some way. But if we take it to the less extreme, if we take it into not only the end of your life, but in this right now moment, like, how does this affect your life? And so how you experience reality affects everything. So we already spoke about what happens when you have an idea, when you have a creative idea and you want to create something. But there's a difference between receiving an idea and actually doing it, actually creating it. And that creative constipation can be torturous. And I've experienced this many times in my life, and I don't know if there's anybody who hasn't experienced. If you have never experienced this, then probably come teach at the retreat. But in any case, the you that you are being affects everything. If you're living your life from the 2 or 20 or 8% on the surface, compared to if you have access to your full depth, your full capacity, your full everything, it affects the creations that come through you. It affects your money-making capacity. If you go on a first date, you're sitting across from that person that just makes you melt, the person that you're like, hey, this could maybe be something, and you're like, hey, maybe he or she or they feel like this could maybe be something. I don't know, but there's a vibe. Let's explore, let's see what happens. The difference in that first date between you feeling, oh, am I good enough? What do they think about me? Do I say, say the right thing? Don't be weird, don't be weird. No, don't say that mind is happening, compared to just feeling the deepest trust, feeling them, feeling their soul, feeling their higher self, your higher self. You're already jamming on different dimensions. Like, and that doesn't have to be ultra spiritual. Like, you can literally have like the best conversations about the latest Avengers movie and just have the best time ever. It's not compartmentalized into only the Om Shanti stuff. But there is just like the full jamming, the full trust. You're both in full access to your full quantum selves. That is the difference between a shitty first date that never went anywhere and you're just wondering what if, or the soulmate relationship that lasts for the rest of your life, or for the however long it's meant to last. But there is the you that you're being on a first date or on any moment in your relationship affects everything. Same thing, you go on a job interview, you feel nervous, you don't know what to say, you're super scared that you don't get the job, or you're coming in, you feel trust, you feel this intelligence flowing through you, you feel in contact with your fullness, with this access to your depth. They're like, who are you and how can we hire you yesterday? Or you're a coach and you're trying to get clients and you're trying to be seen and you're trying to don't come off too desperate because they're not going to hire me, and all the mind stuff, which is so innocent and so beautiful but so human. And then there's the you that is just like, I am here in the space of service, and if you feel the yes, we can go deep, and both of our lives are going to change, and your life is going to change so much that you're like, where have you been my entire life? While staying humble. That is an experience as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as whatever. It's a completely different life experience. And so coming to the retreat, to bring it back to this, it's like you come into the retreat. Jonathan said it so well. I think it's in the video from 2018 maybe, from Spain, when he speaks about that you enter into this retreat as one version of yourself. And then you come out of this retreat as a completely upgraded, new experience of yourself, life, reality, everything. And with that, you come into the retreat, and most likely, you know, if you're watching this, it's not like you're like, oh, I've never heard of yoga before. What is breathwork? Like, most likely you're like, I ate ayahuasca for breakfast. Like, you're a veteran in the space. It's not, and most people who come or have done a lot of spiritual work, a lot of things before, a lot of business trainings, a lot of like people. It's not generally not a beginner's thing, although as humans it's always the present moment, and so anyone who feels called will be right for the retreat. That's just how it happens always. In any case, there is the projected timeline that you have when you come into the retreat. There is an experience of, this is what is possible for me, this is what is probably maybe possible for me, this is probably what my life is going to be like, these are the things that I want to do. You come into the retreat with that gets blown open, that gets expanded, that gets deepened, that gets expanded so much that you come out of this retreat and you're like, I have now access to a view of timelines I didn't even know existed before. And then from there, that keeps on happening again. From there, it keeps on happening again. From there, it keeps on happening again. As well as being surrounded with people who are doing this and living life in this way, which is also very helpful and keeps on deepening and expanding together, and so on and so on and so on, with no upper limits. So that happens. Another thing that happens in the retreat, through the breath work that we're doing, through the body alchemy workout shreds, through the sexual vitality qigong practices, the energy practices that we're doing, it's an unlocking of energy pathways inside your body that you probably maybe didn't know were there before. Or if you did, then there is a deepening, there is an opening, there's a subtlety. This is what I love about these practices, is that no matter where you are, you're super experienced, you're a Jedi already, something new is going to happen. Like every time you do these practices, something new is going to unlock. This is why people come back to the retreats for the second, third, fourth, fifth time, and new things happen. There's also new practices every time, new facilitators, new music lineup, like that. We haven't even spoken about the music lineup yet. That's also insane. But in any case, every single time the practices are designed for whatever unlocking is next for you, that is what happens. And so, unlocking of energy pathways you didn't even know were there, or a deepening, or a reawakening, or something that isn't even in the guidance from whoever is guiding the practice, but it's like, there is an experience of being in it for you, and then you discover something that isn't even verbally guided or spoken. Let's see if there's anything else. I have barely been looking at my notes through this, but I did write some things down before, because I was like, what exactly happens in the retreat? So I want to see if there's something that I haven't touched upon. Oh yes. There's the people that you're meant to meet. That is another thing that is happening. It's funny because we can't really call it that, like, this is one of the results of the retreat, but in a sense we can, because this is one of the results. It's like an inevitable thing. This is one of the things that blow me away about the retreat, is just the convergence of the people. Like I said, we've had 8 or 9 couples start in the retreat, 1 baby so far, countless friendships, business collaborations. It works like this every single time that you feel called to come to the retreat. You don't know why. Your mind is like, it's 9 days or it's 12 days, because we also have 12 days. We have an arrival day, the day before you come to the retreat, then a 9-day retreat, and then 2 days afterglow where we can just stay, chill, hang out, integrate. We added this because we don't want you to be like traveling on the same day and be all like jet lagged and tired and then come straight into a workshop and expect to feel your best, but we want you to be rested, to have arrived, to be showered, to be ready for the beginning. And then at the end, we added the afterglow experience a number of retreats ago because nobody ever wants to leave, and B, it's really nice to just have that time to integrate. That it's not like we have the final closing ceremony, it's like, bye, good luck with your life, but but there's just 2 days to just integrate, to hang out, to some people just want to be alone, some people do podcasts, some people film, some people co-create, some people jam, there's spontaneous things happening. You can be completely solitary and just be with the waterfall in nature, or you can hang out with people. And there's also a rejuvenation day in the middle of the retreat. So it's like an 8-day retreat with a day in the middle. So 9 days in total, but like 4 days, 1 day in the middle. That is a rejuvenation day with no program, because we go from like 7:30 in the morning until 10:30 in the evening. It's a pretty intensive experience. And so the rejuvenation day is a day when you can be alone, you can hang out with people, you can catch up on your work. There's also 2 hours for lunch every day, but 2 hours I think for dinner. So there's like definitely space in the days, but the rejuvenation day is a day when you're like, if you have a team meeting, you can book it on this day, you can just have it as a completely free day. It's a day for nature experience. If you are inspired and you want to film something or write something or record something, this is a perfect day for that. It can also be a day when you sleep all day, or you're like, I'm gonna wash my hair now because I haven't washed my hair for 4 days, and so that's like a perfect moment to do that as well. No, there's time to wash your hair during, but I'm just saying, like, whatever you need, that's what the rejuvenation day is for. And so to bring it back to the objections of the mind, sometimes when you're like, it's a 9-day thing, I don't know if it's gonna be worth it or the whatever, but it's like so much time bending and so much acceleration and so much manifestation and so many things come out of this that it pays itself back in terms of time, in terms of money times 1,000 every single time that just happens. And one of the things, like I said, that keeps on blowing me away about the retreat is the people that you are meant to meet. That there is something where your higher self is like, hey, come to this retreat, it's gonna be the most amazing thing ever, and your mind is like, it's 9 days, it's thousands of dollars, I don't know if it's gonna be worth it. And then every single time when you trust it, every single time, I guarantee this, you'll be at the retreat, there will be a moment in a workshop, in an experience, something downloads into you, something unlocks into you, your conversation with somebody you're meant to meet, and you go, oh, that's why I had to come here. Every single time. Usually multiple times. Usually every single day you're like, oh, this is why I had to be here. Oh, this is why I had to be here. Oh, this is why I had to be here. Oh my God, I'm so glad I'm here. Oh my God, I'm so glad I trusted this. And so that just happens every single time. And the people who are coming is a huge, huge part of this. Big shout out, by the way, if you're a man watching this, everyone is welcome, women, men, non-binary. And right now, we're calling in all the epic dudes. We have a huge majority of women, like more than we've ever had for any retreat. And we're letting the people know who are already signed up for the retreat, be like, invite your favorite men. If you're a guy watching this, we want you at the retreat. Check out the information, watch a video from the last retreat. If you're still watching it this far into this video, you're probably feeling something. And so, just got a message from Gabriel. And so calling in all the epic dudes. If I was a guy, I would get on there. There's going to be so many amazing women there. It's like a kind of an interesting problem to have, that we almost have like too many amazing women. And we don't have to have 50-50, but it's nice to have like a fairly even balance. And so if you're a guy watching this, come to the retreat. If you know men in your life, send them the link. Just be like, yo bro, there's this epic event happening in a few weeks in Spain. I feel like you're meant to be there, or like I feel like you would resonate with this. Just check out the link, watch the first video on the page, you'll just know. Okay, last thing that I want to share about this, about the results of this retreat, is that you don't come to the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat because you want to feel a little bit better, or that you want to just learn basic, like, I want to just feel a bit better about myself, or I want to feel just a little bit better about my life, or I want to feel just a little bit more okay with things as they are, or okay with the job that I hate, or okay with whatever the thing. It's not, you're not coming here for self-improvement in terms of becoming better or improving or fixing or anything that's in the realm of just like human, like this is not good enough and I want to get up to good enough. That's not what this is about. You come to the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat because you want to explore the edges of consciousness, because you want to discover what else is possible for you. You come to the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat because you're like, maybe reincarnation is a thing, but this is the one life that I have right now, and so why not make this the biggest adventure and the most epic experience that I can for this lifetime? And this retreat plays a part in that. It's one of those experiences where your future self can look back at this experience as the retreat, the week, the 9 days that changed everything. I'm gonna leave it at this. Thank you so much for being here. If you're still here at this point, you probably already know. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You can comment below on this video, wherever you're watching this. If you want to find out more about the retreat, just Google the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat or go to ecstaticawakeningretreat.com and then click on whatever is the next one coming up. In the moment of recording this, the next one coming up is the 22nd of July to the 2nd of August 2022 in Spain. We're calling in more men. We're calling in all the aligned dudes for this retreat. Feel free to pass this along to your favorite men. If you're a guy, come sign up for the retreat. If your mind needs more information, there's more information on the retreat website. You can find a lot of testimonials, a lot of videos from people who have been to the retreats. If you want to know more about the team, you can go to ecstaticawakeningretreat.com/facilitators or ecstaticawakeningretreat.com/inspiration vault, or just Google Ecstatic Awakening Retreat Inspiration Vault, and there you can find a lot of videos from the entire team. And specifically for the Spain retreat coming up, it's myself, it's my partner Gabriel Rima, also known as Zen Tempest, who's going to be facilitating at the retreat, Jonathan Berry, the founder of the Mind Lab Institute and the creator of Quantum Meditation Mastery, who's also going to be guiding the morning meditations, quantum meditations, body alchemy workout shreds, timeline design. There's Oren, who is the creator of Flow Mastery, Vibrational Marketing, Energy Mastery, and the ATYYA Experience, who is kind of somewhere between like hip-hop Yoda in human form, and the most awakened human being I've ever met in my entire life, who is going to be facilitating at the retreat. He's a peak performance coach, coaching athletes, peak performers, entrepreneurs, business owners, epic humans, and adventures of all calibers. He's going to be at the retreat facilitating. We have ATYYA, who headlined in Vision Festival, who played Ecstatic Awakening Costa Rica, and is coming to play for the second time in Spain. We have Equanimous, Nate Stein, who is a very, very dear friend who is playing right now all over the world. He's touring like crazy. If you follow him on Instagram, you'll just like see new gigs almost every day. He has been with us just as a friend for the last couple of years, and we've done some shows together with Gabriel, with myself, with Equanimous, and other people, with the Humans I Trust in Austin, in Miami, in Asheville. His partner Ruby Chase is going to be playing at the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat. Ruby Chase has, she has so many amazing tracks. If you want to check out one and just be like, who is this chick? Check out a track called Regenerate. It's also posted on the Ecstatic Awakening Spain website. So if you just scroll down to the music lineup, you'll see like music tasters from ATYYA, music tasters from Equanimous, music tasters from Ruby, and I think at least on the computer version, maybe on the mobile one, there's her track Regenerate with the number 8, Regenerate, and it's just the most epic like hip-hop rap track for Mother Earth. She's super cool. She's going to be playing at the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat. We have Kareem Raïhani, who played at the first Ecstatic Awakening Retreat in 2016, and he has played for every single one that we've had in Europe, in Spain. And so he's gonna do 2 sets, and he is my favorite ecstatic dance DJ in the entire world. And that is from, basically, I started doing ecstatic dance when I was 17, and now I'm 36, and so it's like almost 20 years of traveling the world and going to ecstatic dance, and Kareem Raïhani is my favorite ecstatic dance DJ. Kareem, if you ever watch this, I love you, and you're my favorite ecstatic dance DJ. The journeys that he created are just beyond this world. And the ecstatic dances are going to allow us to integrate everything. That it's like after a day of a lot of talking, a lot of experiences, we just dance. And it's the best epic party ever. And these are people who play for crowds of thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, and they're coming to play for our intimate 50-person or 55-person or 42-person retreat in the mountains. Okay, my loves, this feels complete. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your morning, day, evening, night, wherever you are in the world. Maybe we'll see you on the mountain top, in the mountains of Spain, by the Mediterranean, in just a few weeks. As we like to say, manifestation doesn't take time, it simply takes alignment. And sometimes when I'm like, oh, there's this many people coming to the retreat or whatever, and I'm just realizing that all it is one person feeling the yes and going for it, one person feeling the yes and going for it, one person feeling the yes and going for it, and somehow magically that results in this epic convergence and coming together of awesome conscious creators and Jedis in all these retreats.
So thank you, Ronja, and all of the other facilitators for the Ecstatic Awakening experience. This has been one of the most powerful things that I've ever done in my entire life.
This is really the place for you to come if you're ready to step into your full power, your highest timeline, the best version of yourself, and activate the Jedi within you.
If you're considering going, I say do it and thank me later. You'll step into a container not knowing most of the people and leave with a whole new soul family of individuals that you shared everything from ecstatic, cathartic, ascended states of consciousness to deep, powerful, vulnerable, tender states and everything in between. My name is David Weber, and I highly recommend Ecstatic Awakening to anyone that might be seeing this video. So have an amazing day, and I love you.
Do it. If it's the last thing you ever do it.
What I would tell someone that's considering coming to Ecstatic Awakening is just to prepare for this to be the most blissful, ecstatic awakening experience of your entire life. Definitely, don't miss out.